Good. Nice to meet you. I'm Dan.
Nice to meet you.
I've already started recording right when you joined, so we're off to the races.
Fantastic.
I run a tight ship.
That's good.
So all right, real quick. So for those who are just joining us, this is Typology Gifts, and I'm Dan, and I guess what I do on this channel is I try to help people get like a second opinion, or might be a third or a fourth opinion, depending on how many times they've tried to get typed by somebody. Uh, because it is a, let's say, armchair science kind of thing. so, uh, yeah, so it's kind of fun, but it's also, sometimes you learn things about people. Um, so thanks for joining, and I guess I would just say, if you have been typed before, save it for the end, and then I'll tell you what type I think you might be, and then we can compare notes and talk about it.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely have looked into things since about 5 years ago when my ENFP daughter, who's 17 now,
Uh huh.
um, came bounding out of the bedroom saying, "Dad, you got to do this test." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't believe in that stuff."
So what happened?
And so I was studying at the time, nutritional medicine, and I did the test on 16personalities.com. I've since much preferred other dichotomies, as you call them. But um, yeah, it was I love at first sight. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As soon as I read about it, I thought, "Oh my goodness, that's accurate." So
Interesting.
yeah, overriding.
So what was it about your daughter that that when she said that I'm this personality type or whatever, that did that, was that some kind of like confirmation for you in some way, that because you knew her, or what was the situation there?
Yeah, her and her sister, my eldest daughter, who's 4 years older, I think they got the test through school,
Hmm.
and they must have been doing it together. And then she came out, and she was pretty excited. I mean, she's got a fair bit of energy.
She's got what?
I think fair bit of energy.
Hmm.
She's you know, a pretty textbook ENFP actually,
Hmm.
and I sort of thought, well, all right, I'll give it a go.
Hmm.
I need a bit of a break from studying, but
Hmm.
uh, up until then, I didn't have any time for that kind of thing actually, nor psychology or anything like that. So
Hmm.
it was a bit of a surprise. But then counselling and things is um, all part of being a nutritionist, so it kind of works in there. Yeah. But I was a believer after that day.
So how does it tie into nutrition? How have you found? Let me turn off my VPN, by the way, just because I uh, I might be having to slow down. Hold on 1 second. Test, test, test. We good?
Right, you there? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I was having a little bit
Yep.
of slowdown, so I just decided to turn off my
Okay.
VPN. Yeah. Uh,
Sure.
yeah. So what's the connection point there with nutrition and nutritionist kind of things?
Uh, I would say that the biggest thing for me is that people are different. So when I do a nutrition case,
Hmm.
uh, I'm absolutely against one size fits all medicine.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think there's a pretty strong link there
Hmm.
between them and MBTI and such like. Um, Although we share similarities, though. So uh, we could all have high blood pressure, but there could be several different reasons for that. and it's finding the reason that I enjoy, but I also enjoy talking to someone new and seeing if I can help them a bit. Yeah, I think there's a definite similarity. Well, I think there is between typology and healthcare. If you're doing healthcare
Hmm.
holistically, that is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are some universal beliefs that you have, that you hold, that you would say are unique to you?
Unique to me.
Hmm. Not
Um,
to say that no one else shares that view, but just to say that
uh,
it's sort of a
okay. Yeah.
personally held.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a Christian, so I believe that God created everything. I believe we are created by God. So I think therefore there's evidence of design and uh, purpose,
hmm.
all of that. Um, and I see that in you know biochemistry, which I really enjoy looking into, and I see that in MBTI actually.
Hmm.
I don't see randomness. I see order. I see uh, meaning. So um, I think you know even in psychology, if you can encourage people that there is meaning, and that would actually go a long way
What was? Sorry,
to
you cut
helping
out.
their state of mind.
Oh, the state of mind. Yes. Sorry, it got a little
Yeah,
choppy there.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So sort of related to the placebo effect, things like that, right?
Yes, I guess so. Yeah, yeah. I think our emotional state can affect our health. Literally can.
Hmm.
So there's placebo, yes, but yeah, there's also a literal effect and
Sure.
connection. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, no, the
yeah,
placebo effect is a known effect, of mind
yeah,
affecting
yeah,
body. So
yeah.
yeah, it is. Um, so what was it that was your let's see. So you have strongly held theological viewpoint, and would you say that you have any, let's say, cosmological points of view that aren't addressed in traditional theology?
Possibly. I don't think the Bible is written as a science book per se, though. I'm, uh, when I listen to scientists who hold the same belief as me, I can see that they are able to tie it in. Uh, but I certainly, I mean, let's just say MBCI, for example. I
Hmm.
don't know if this fits into cosmological exactly, but it's probably a metaphor. There are some uh, Christians who are very opposed uh, to it because
Hmm.
they, you know, hold that it's uh, too much focus on yourself
Sure, sure, sure.
and yeah, trying to fix yourself up and
Right,
rather than letting God do it. But
right, right.
yeah, I think the opposite. I think that it's evident uh, of purpose and design. So I think that that's a viewpoint that probably differs from I think most certainly at my church. There's a few people that I mean I try and type everyone. That's me. My whole college class when I was there, including the lecturers, were jumping on 16personalities.com at the time, and I found that fascinating and quite fulfilling actually. Yeah, I could talk all day about it.
What is it that you
um,
find fulfilling about it?
I think it's seeing the light maybe go on and people saying, "Wow, that really is." like me, and I've even had a couple of people say I've found that literally helpful because I thought one friend of mine goes, I thought I was just nuts, but now
Mm-hmm.
now I find out I'm an INFP. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I think it's interesting. It's uh, just see the effect on people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 And what would you say now? So back to my question about cosmology, you mentioned
Oh yeah.
MBTI fitting into that, and I mean, I suppose you could say that anything that exists could fit under cosmology, I suppose. But I suppose I think when I think we're thinking about cosmology, a lot of times we're thinking about the higher levels, like what the universe is made of, uh, what the context of the universe's existence is, uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, the properties of the universe and things like that. Um, So, are there any points of view you have on that in that regard that are not not to say that what I mean to say is are there any independently held views that you have that don't fall under theology, or do they all kind of bucket under a certain theological point of view?
I can't think of anything that contradicts my interest. Actually, I do amateur astronomy, so
Oh,
I've got a
what
couple
about
of decent.
you said you lecture on astronomy?
No, I just uh, do amateur
Oh,
astronomy, like
amateur astronomy. Okay, cool,
yeah,
great.
in the backyard sort of
Uh
thing.
huh.
I've got a couple of pretty decent sized telescopes,
Oh, cool.
and I was actually thinking about that today. What it is about looking at the universe um, through a telescope that I find appealing,
Mhm.
and it's more the grand scale of it, and I can sit there and look at Neptune, say this planet that's billions of kilometers away from my own backyard, and even though it's just a small blue dot in my telescope,
Right, right,
um,
right.
that blows my mind. I don't care a lot, I guess, about what things are made of. I know, Saturn's excuse me, Saturn's moon, Enceladus, might have oceans of whatever,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I might find a passing interest in that if it's on a documentary, but I'm not gonna. I'm more. It's more the design, the beauty,
Mhm.
the 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 whole kit and caboodle, I suppose, how everything moves together and like a symphony. I think
Mhm.
that's, and
Mhm.
so I get that feeling when I'm outside. It's probably one of the things that where I yeah use my eyes and take 5 minutes out of busyness, I guess. Um, yeah, rather than I won't be jumping out of a plane or water skiing anytime. So
Mhm.
yeah, for me, astronomy is enough for me.
That's enough thrill for you, huh?
It
It is
is.
pretty thrilling, actually, though. I
It
mean,
is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, there's there's people that don't appreciate it, and there's people who do, and I think I'm one of those
Mm,
who does certainly
yeah.
appreciate the vastness, the scale. Even
Mm,
just trying to contemplate it, or looking at pictures, or looking at simulations. I think
yeah.
the one that blew my mind the most was about 4 or 5 years ago. There was a like a solar system VR experience. I don't know if you've ever tried something like that, but uh, it's probably you can probably still do it. But it takes you on a tour around the solar system in VR, and then it scales stuff up like to some degree of accuracy at least, and it's just
Yeah.
amazing to see it, to actually see it in its proper scale. Yeah, it blows my mind. So.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah, I like to, and again, there again, I like to share that with people. I've had a few years back did a viewing night at my daughter's school.
Hmm.
So to see people's reaction when they first look at Saturn or the Moon or whatever, it's amazing how many people just don't do that.
Right, right, right.
They don't look up. So
Do you find meaning?
yeah,
Do you find meaning in mundane things?
yes, sometimes, yeah.
How often is
I,
sometimes?
I guess so. um, I often, when you say mundane, I'll say I'm hanging out the washing or
Hmm.
washing dishes or anything
Sure.
like that. I suppose my mind, yeah, it goes to apart from I want to get this done.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I'll often think, oh, you know, um, dishes, and then that connects to family and this kitchen. Oh, how many times have I stood here and you know, and how long have I lived at this house? And should be a window in front of me.
There should be a window in front of me. Is that what you said?
Yeah, while I'm doing the dishes, not a wall.
Right, right.
So I'd have something to look at.
So you'd rather not retreat inward. You'd rather have some external thing to look at, right? While you're processing that stuff, right?
I think while I'm doing that, perhaps yeah. Um,
Right.
on
I
the
know what
other
you're talking
hand,
about. I
yeah,
don't take that to be implicate. What I mean is that everybody's doing both at the same time. Everybody's going inward and outward at the
yeah,
same time. But some people don't need to look out the window. And some people do. You know what I mean? For some reason,
yeah,
some people don't care about that, and some people do. And I'm a look out the window kind of person. Like even if I'm not really like actually looking at it at what's out there, I just need to have my eyes out on something for some
yeah.
reason.
You like the feeling of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
wife, my wife's an ISFJ.
Mhm.
At least we think she is.
Mhm. Mhm.
My eldest daughter and I are good at typing people, we reckon. Well,
Mhm.
she definitely is. She's an INFP. But she uh, she will always close the blind during summer because it keeps the heat out of the
Uh huh.
room,
Uh huh.
and I always want it open.
You'll
and
take the heat so you can
she,
see out. Is that the idea?
yeah, exactly, to a point, and then it's like, yeah, you're right. The house is cooler. I should listen to you.
That's pretty funny.
But she's more the practical one in the relationship, generally speaking.
I see. So
Yeah.
are you kind of more impractical?
Yes. I put it this way. We bought a couple of bookshelves for our girls only a few months ago, and
Mhm.
it just frustrates me putting stuff together.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so they ended up doing it. They did it better than I do. In fact, my youngest daughter came into the room, and within about 30 seconds, she's going, "Oh, what are you doing? No, shouldn't be doing that. This is how you do it. Did you read the instructions?"
Mhm.
you know, and I'm like, "Yeah, but they drive me nuts." Ironically, the thing that I enjoyed putting together the most was an orrery, which is a model of the solar system.
Mhm.
That working model.
Mhm.
Uh, because that was pretty simple, step by step. You get one bit each month.
Right.
Yeah, but putting furniture together, no. My wife will say, "Do you think the car needs a wash?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, yeah. I see it. I know it does, and I think I'll do that at some point." But I don't hop in there and go, "Let's go wash the car." And yet, while I'm washing it at the car wash, I don't mind. It's not that I mind. I remember one example, just to give you an example. A friend of mine had built a new house, and I was with him that day. He said, "Oh, do you mind coming with me? And we're going to move some bricks out of the way." I said, "Sure." Um, so I went and helped him, and afterwards he looked at me and he goes, "I'm amazed at how hard and fast you worked." And I said, "Well, I'm not lazy. It's not my thing.
Right.
It's not laziness. But once I do it, if there's
Uh-huh.
a pile of work at work, people will give it to me.
Uh-huh.
I get it done. I like to finish stuff, get it out of the way,
Right.
so I can spend more time thinking about better things."
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So do you think that let me ask you this question. If I asked you if you were an individualist, would you agree with that or disagree or something else?
So by individualist, you mean I'm going to do my own thing and it doesn't bother me what other people think? Is that, is that where
I'm
you're going?
hesitant to over explain myself. I'd
Aha,
rather
okay.
you interpret
Um,
whatever I just said however you want to interpret it. And I want to listen
all
to
right
what
then.
you say.
Okay. All right. um, I think to a point, I don't. I don't dress radically. I don't. Um, I wouldn't stand out much at a party. I don't think.
Hmm.
um, but I have a great deal of trouble. I also work because my nutrition's part time at the moment. Although I want to change that. I also work in a bank as well,
Hmm.
and there's ways that perhaps my boss wants to do something, and I do struggle with that sometimes. I think, why do we do it this way?
Hmm.
And I'm often the one that comes up with improving some way of doing things, but my boss has I guess the brains to you know do formulas and stuff
Mm.
in spreadsheets and things like that, and uh, that's something I struggle with. Yeah, anything mathematical, that sort of thing, I don't. It doesn't interest me really.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but ideas to change to fix a to make something more efficient. Yeah, and so I do often question why we have to do it that way, and sometimes I get myself into trouble because
Yeah.
yeah, the big boss says, "We told you what to do. Why did you do it that way?" And I'm like, well,
Right. Right. Right.
So
That's
in that way, individual, yeah, um, but not to look at. I don't think. Um, and maybe also just as a little bit of a icing on the cake of that question. Hope I'm not taking too long with it. I do teach uh, from the Bible at the church I go to, and one friend of ours, he's an elderly guy, and he's been around a fair while. He he said the way you teach is very unique. Uh, there's not many people that that do it like you. That sort of the way that I sort of bring out uh, meaning, yeah, from the scripture. So
hmm.
I guess that's from a third party point of view. Um,
And
yeah,
is that point of view that you're bringing out coming from like your sort of digestion of what you've read and a synthesis, so to speak? Like, are you giving some meaningful nugget to people, and that's what they're receiving? Well, that's what they're liking.
yeah. I hope they get it. I know that perhaps some people don't. Yeah, it's interesting actually. Uh, us guys get together just before the meeting, and if someone has something uh, to teach on that day, you sort of put your hand up, and it's become a bit of a inside joke that they don't ask me straight away because I go, I'm not sure yet, and so things can come uh, almost out of nowhere. I guess I think most people would take a passage of scripture uh, and then add some, perhaps some science to it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they present a dot point sermon,
Right.
and that's okay if that's what you do, taking notes and things. I never take notes. I never do that. It's very rare, unless I'm asked to do some special thing or something. I might take a few notes down, but yeah, it's not something I rely on. Yeah, in fact, if I took notes, I probably wouldn't even look at them while I was talking, so I'd
Mm-hmm.
forget to. But I'm pretty good with time constraints. I'm pretty. I'm one of the better ones. I don't
Why
waffle on.
why are you good at time constraints?
I think out of respect for people sitting there, I've been there before as well,
Mm-hmm.
where someone's gone a bit too long and you can't keep
Right.
attention for that long.
Right.
And I think, couldn't they be a little more respectful?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's why. Yeah.
Okay, and is that um how have you evolved as a person since you were younger?
I'm definitely more comfortable with people.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a child, even even up to 18, 19, perhaps even, um, I was actually really shy, to the point where I would blush just walking into a room with people. I would not want to ring my dad at work in case someone else answered the phone and it wasn't him. And my little brother, who's a year and a half younger than me, he would do all the ringing, and he even sold a TV while mum and dad were out. He was only 7, I think, at the time. He sold a TV to some people who'd come around to look at it. I don't
Nice.
know, I can't remember now why mum and dad weren't there at the time, but I ran into the toilet and shut the door. I didn't want to. I didn't want to be there. And mum loved the horse racing, so mum and dad would often go to the races. I would sit in the car and read a book.
Mm-hmm.
I I didn't, and I joined them for lunch. I had a hot dog or something. Um, I loved time by myself. I actually uh, would crave it. I think that now I'm older, I'm more like confident with people. I don't think they think I'm weird or I look different or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If I do, it doesn't bother me so much. Um, but as far as spending time by myself, that's still it's still a very probably the most fulfilling
Mm-hmm.
part of my week when it happens. I mean, I have my daughters are 22 and nearly 18 now, so it's not like things are as busy as they used to be. And I was dying for some time alone, and yeah, uh, I find that fulfilling. So I don't know if that answered the question, but I would say confidence is what has changed. Experience with working and being with people,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, uh,
Okay. We're at the halfway
yeah.
point. I'm gonna go and
Okay,
pour drink number two. I've got a theory,
sounds good.
so next part, as people know, usually I have some kind of theory by the time end of part one. So I do have a theory.
Yeah, I
And
have watched a few of your sessions.
mhm.
I found them really fascinating, actually.
Oh, good.
Um, yeah, so
Now you're the
yeah.
star. You get to have your face
You're the
on the
star. You're the
thumbnail.
star.
It's a big deal. My face isn't on the thumbnail. Yours is. So
Ah,
that means
great.
you're the star.
Well, that's terrible. Poor people.
All right. So friends at home, we'll be right back. See you in part B. And Shaun, I'll be right back in about 5 minutes. So thanks.